world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel video, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the newest episode of What If that came out Wednesday. Technically, it came out today because I'm filming it on Wednesday, because I got all my work done, so I'm finding the right time to do it. So in this review, I'll be talking about the newest episode of What If called What If Zombies. So let's get into it. So when I first heard that they were making a what if version for zombies, I was like, what scenario is this? Like, we never had Marvel zombies, so technically this is going to be something so original. And that's not really what If is all about. It's about taking these very famous MCU plot lines and multiple MCU moments in Marvel history, and taking them and doing something kind of original with it, but something new with it. And that's not what I was thinking going into this episode. But I heard a theory a couple weeks ago, and just to let you know that theory is true, and it's confirmed in this episode. And so the timeline, let's kind of start off with the beginning of this episode. So the episode really begins so this movie really has to do with the plot lines of Ant-Man and the Wasp and Avengers Infinity War. So the episode begins with Bruce Banner getting sent to Earth by Heimdall, like at the beginning of Infinity War. And technically in Infinity War, he's supposed to be crashing down in Doctor Strange's home, which he does. And he meets Doctor Strange and Wong. But technically it doesn't happen because of what happened. So he technically goes there, and instead of meeting them, he actually goes outside in his Mystic Arts clothes, and he meets Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian again, because he already met them in the ship, in the Asgardian ship. And then he's saved by Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Wong, except it's truth be told that they're actually zombies already, because they're now zombies. But then, luckily, the Doctor Strange cape is able to save him. He's able to take a few swinging hits on Iron Man. But then later, Hope and her Wasp and her army of ants save Bruce, and then Spider-Man swoops in and gets him. And then it tells us the backstory of how this all happened. So let me explain it. So 2 weeks earlier, 2 weeks before Bruce Banner was sent, I believe this took during the events of Thor Ragnarok 2. Hank Pym journeyed into the quantum realm to look for his long-lost wife, Janet Van Dyne. And if you're big fans of Michelle Pfeiffer, you could definitely guess that this is part of the story. So instead of having this emotional reaction of seeing Janet Van Dyne for 3 long years and actually bringing her back to the present, and her having these quantum realm powers, she becomes a zombie and she infects it on everyone. Hank Pym brings her back to the real world, and they infect it on everybody. And in 24 hours, the entire Pacific Coast West was infected. But luckily, the Avengers were able to come and try to stop this attack and this invasion happening. But once they tried, it did not help them. All the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Black Panther, obviously Thor and Hulk couldn't do it because they were up in Asgard and Sakaar. And then that's really how the story played out. So if you're a big fan of Michelle Pfeiffer's character technically caused a whole zombie apocalypse, just to let you know. But she doesn't come back in this episode. She's just a character to set up the story. That's all she really is. But then they do this scene where they explain how can we survive the zombie apocalypse? What can we do to keep us safe so that way we won't get eaten by these zombies? So they Peter, he records all of this. He does this thing with Happy and Kurt. He does this thing with Bucky in the shower about personal hygiene. He does this thing with Sharon Carter. If you want to kill him, you gotta aim for the head. And then you just get this whole team thing. So what are my thoughts on the episode? I was just kind of explaining it, but what I loved about this episode is that I liked how it kind of took the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp, of bringing Janet Van Dyne back to the real world, and using that small plot line, and using it to create something so much bigger, and making it into Infinity War. And I never thought they would actually do that, until I saw that theory a couple weeks ago. And as this plot line takes place in Infinity War, you have to find some way to still bring these characters together. And they did. They even found characters that you never really thought would team up, like Happy, Kurt. They're not, like, in Endgame. We don't know, I mean, obviously we know Happy got blipped. We know he got snapped away, but Kurt, we don't know if he got snapped. So, I love how they brought those interesting characters, and, like, there's other characters, like Sharon Carter was in it. There was also, like, we also got Bucky, we got Spider-Man, we got Hulk. Well, Hulk at the end. We got Doctor Strange's cape, we got Okoye. Just the whole team dynamic I thought was really cool. And I thought we also got Wasp too. So we got this whole team dynamic of all these actors coming back and these new interactions. Like, you got Happy doing the Iron Man thing, blam, blam, blam. Kurt always being hilarious. And I love how Spider-Man is always referencing these horror films, since zombie apocalypse movies happen to be part of the horror movie genre. It was just so cool. Many dynamics. The action was also very violent. And I also liked the new dynamics with the characters. I also liked how Peter Parker finally referenced Uncle Ben for the first time. If you're massive fans of Spider-Man, you're gonna love that. And it's gonna make a big impact and make a little bit of a character arc for Spider-Man in this episode. And also with Hope too. And I love the little interactions between Hope and Spider-Man. It was just so sweet. And then also, what they did with Vision, it made a little bit of a smaller story for WandaVision. As WandaVision, what Wanda did, she kept the whole city hostage, and as they said in episode 9 of WandaVision, every time they went to sleep, they kept dreaming their nightmares, and Vision kept people to feed her, to feed zombie Scarlet Witch, and she kept Black Panther as a snack, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then you get to Scott Lang as this head. It's one of my problems for the episode, but we'll get back onto that because it's a big thing that I do not like about this episode. But Scott Lang was just so hilarious. I love how he's always referencing these dad jokes and stuff, and it was just really cool. And then with Black Panther, on the other hand, it also had a pretty cool arc, as it referenced Chadwick Boseman's death, as he may not be with us. They are still with us, but just because they're not with us anymore doesn't mean that they're not gone. As long as we remember them, they're still with us. And I thought that was a great remembrance to Chadwick Boseman. And then the episode closes out as they're going to go to Wakanda to try to save the world. But then you also get reminded that this is also during the events of Infinity War, so Thanos is still out there, and he actually is a zombie, and he has all, like, 5 Infinity Stones, which I'm a little bit confused on that. So now let's move on to the bad, because that's really where all the good closes now. So one of my problems with the episode is I just never understood this whole Scott Lang head thing. I just feel like that whole thing with his head and him just being in a jar, like, how is he supposed to eat? How is he breathing? I guess it has something to do with Vision, how he has the Mind Stone, he can recreate things, and the Infinity Stones are like the most powerful things in the entire universe. So I guess that makes sense, but I never understood the logic of that. And I wish they kind of, like, explored it a little bit. And then also, I don't understand why Vision killed himself. I just never understood why he did that. And then likewise, the whole Thanos becoming a zombie at the end, I thought that's cool, but there's a couple of problems with that. First off, how can a zombie take in that much power since he hasn't the Infinity Stones, but he's a zombie now, so how can he take on all that much power? That never made sense to me. And then also, how can he become a zombie at all? Because does that mean other heroes of the universe are now zombies? I don't know. But that would be something interesting if the whole zombie apocalypse thing expanded into the entire universe. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy got infected, Captain Marvel got infected. It would be cool to see, but I don't know. I don't know how that can happen though. So that's kind of my review for the entire episode. Man, this was just, I would say this is probably the most enjoyable episode to see, because you saw you heard so many familiar voices, you saw so many character interactions, and it was just funny, it was enjoyable, and it was just great. So before I give my final score, be sure to tell me down below, what were your thoughts on the 5th episode of What If? Man, I can't believe we're actually on the 5th episode right now. Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? We're right there in between. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. With that said, let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores, but we're not done yet. We have one more thing to do before we end this video, and that's to talk about some theories that I have for if they ever decide to make a continuation of this episode or future projects or the future of this show. So right off the bat, I don't really have much theories to come with this, but because now that we're in the multiverse, I think now, because like Doctor Strange 2, because into the No Way Home, don't expect any of these characters to come into No Way Home, because that movie's all going to be about the Spider-Man movie universe coming together. Doctor Strange 2, on the other hand, is going to be the ultimate one where we're going to get all these characters. Obviously, I don't really think there's a character that was really introduced in this episode. I mean, sure, there were zombie versions of certain Avengers, but there wasn't really a specific new character that was introduced. Probably Paul Rudd, probably Scott Lang as the head. Maybe they can make some type of robotic body, like a cyborg or something. I don't know, but I'm sure they could do something very interesting with that. And that's really all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My Instagram is Marvel6 and my TikTok name is Roll1Fan. If you guys don't understand those names, head to my back section to follow me on all social medias. I'm also on Letterboxd. It's the same name as on Instagram, Marvel_6_, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. And now I gotta go eat dinner because my sister just called me.